Presented by the all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Welcome to Rogers Center. It is a gorgeous afternoon, the first afternoon with the roof open here at Rogers Center. Blue Jays beat the Red Sox last night 7-5. John Farrell has his bench coach back. That is Torey Lovullo sitting to his right. Torey was away for the college graduation of his son Nick, and he is back with the ball club today. So the Red Sox, they had a tough loss last night. Blue Jays just kept coming back. Boston is 10 games over 500 at first in the American League East. Xander Bogaerts extended his hit streak to 20 straight games with a hit last night. He's hit .391 over the course of those 20 games with 10 extra base hits. And then David Ortiz. What a season he has put together. He leads the majors with 26 RBIs in the month of May, and for the season he's batting .337, and this is supposed to be his final season.
Yeah, unless they get to the World Series, he says, right? And then he might think about it, but what a year he has put together. Marcus Stroman will get ready for start number 11 on the season. There are his numbers: 69 in the third innings for Marcus, a .389 earned run average. This is his second start this season versus the Red Sox. Last time out, that was last Sunday at Minnesota. He was outstanding. He pitched into the 8th inning. At one time, he allowed 18 straight batters to come to the plate and retired 17 of them. He finished with a flurry against Minnesota, winning that game, pushing his record to 5-1.
Well, with defense, you've got to think about last night. They need to tighten up their defense a lot. They did not play a clean game at all last night. Michael Saunders had problems in left. Pilar's in center, Bautista back in right. Josh Donaldson at third. Darwin Barney playing shortstop. Troy Tulowitzki was placed on a disabled list before the start of this game. Travis and Smoke, and then Russell Martin will handle Marcus Stroman this afternoon.
Yeah, the veteran Darwin Barney is just his second start at shortstop this year. He's made 3 errors, but all of them have been at second base. He will get the bulk of the work now with Tulowitzki down.
First pitch is up and away for a ball, and we are underway. Mookie Betts batting .270 for the regular season, but the Blue Jays have had his number this year. Betts is 3 for 34 against the Blue Jays in 8 games this season.
And he was a terror against them last year. Most hits by one opponent against the Blue Jays, 28 of them last year. That's the whole key, I think, is stopping this lineup. Shut these guys down at the top before Big Poppy comes up.
Fly ball. Bautista there, and Betts is retired. A line drive to right, and Marcus has the first out of the ball game.
Marcus will pitch to contact. His strikeouts are down, but that's okay. He's getting a lot more ground ball outs. He's getting the ball in play, so his defense is paramount, I think, for him to be successful.
Dustin Pedroia had a hit in last night's game. It was actually a ball that was misplayed by Michael Saunders. It fell for a double. That extended his personal hit streak to 21 straight against the Blue Jays. That double came in the 8th inning. He came around to score. 1-1 to the Red Sox second baseman. Pedroia at .305 for the season.
He's got 6 home runs already this year.
He's healthy once again.
They have been doing a very good job of finding days off for him. He battled some hamstring injuries last year.
He shoots this one down the right field line. Bautista can't cut it off, and Pedroia is headed for second. Dustin Pedroia in his first at bat extends that hit streak against the Blue Jays to 22 straight games.
Second straight double against the Jays. The other one was a fly ball to left field this time. This is why the Red Sox are so tough. Foul line to foul line, they can hit the ball. A little cutter down and away. He stays right with that ball and hits it sharply to right field. They are so good in the first inning because of Betts, Pedroia, and Bogaerts coming up, setting the table for David Ortiz.
Blue Jays kept them off the scoreboard in the first inning in last night's game. Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts with a 20-game hit streak. .345 for the season. He is 4 for 11 against Marcus Stroman. Bogaerts, the leading hitter in the American League. He is 4 points ahead of his teammate Jackie Bradley Jr. Nick Castellanos of the Tigers is third. He and Bradley Jr. hitting .341. Ground ball. Pedroia is going to third. Barney had to move to his left, so it kind of took him out of the option of going to third. Pedroia does a good job of base running. So that'll bring David Ortiz to the plate with 2 outs.
You were talking about the Red Sox and their leaders at the top of the American League in batting. They've got 3 of the top 4 hitters in the American League. Here's one of them.
Look at those numbers across the board. On base percentage .420, slugging .706, 12 homers and 45 ribbies. He leads the American League in runs batted in. 2 outs. Pedroia at third. Ortiz over his last 5 games is 11 for 19.
And that's why you get the respect. Look at that defense. Normally, a runner is told you can get off as far as the third baseman.
Ortiz gets jammed. Plenty of time for Barney. Devin Travis, excuse me, and Ortiz is retired. Pedroia is stranded at third after the 1-out double. Keep the Red Sox off the scoreboard in the top of the first. John Gibbons ball club back to 500, and they have done a good job as they snapped a home losing streak with a win last night. Third in the American League East. Jose Bautista is back top of the order after that 1-game suspension, and he has flourished in the leadoff spot. 9 for 28 with 3 homers and 6 RBIs. And Justin Smoak, boy, he likes today's Red Sox starter, Rick Porcello. He's 7 for 18 with 4 extra base hits. 3 of those are home runs.
10th start of the season for Rick Porcello. What a nice surprise he has put together at the beginning of this season. 7-2. Those 7 wins rank among American League leaders. He is tied for second behind Chris Sale, who has 9 innings. He's eating up those innings, and he has handled left-handers. His sinker, I think, is very important.
First pitch strike to Bautista. We mentioned he was out of the lineup last night. He served his 1-game suspension. It's awfully nice the Blue Jays were able to win without Bautista in the lineup.
John Gibbons was talking about that before the ball game today, that they're very happy. It's behind him now. He had to pay a little bit of a fine, he said, and he got to work on his PA announcing skills yesterday, but he was off. It's behind him, and now they've got him back in the lineup.
Looked like a 4-seam fastball upstairs that Bautista swung right through. 1-2.
Last time out, Porcello only lasted 5 2/3 innings against Cleveland, and John Farrell was saying he needs to keep that sinker and use it, especially against the Blue Jays this afternoon.
Curveball hit on the ground. Bogaerts waits it short. In time, one down. Well, the Red Sox, they have a lot of homegrown talent, and they're young players that are playing good defense this season. Today, it's a veteran Chris Young in left field. Jackie Bradley Jr. had 5 assists in center, and Mookie Betts is in right. Shaw, Bogarts, Pedroia, and Ramirez from third to first, and Christian Vasquez making his 26th start behind the plate.
Tied for third in the American League in fielding percentage thanks to this guy right here. He's only made 1 error at shortstop. 50 games at shortstop, tied with Iglesias in fielding percentage. First in the American League in zone rating this year at #1 for shortstops.
Josh Donaldson coming off a 4-hit game last night. 2 home runs, a double, a single, and he drove home 5. That's the pitch the Blue Jays are going to have to lay off. That's that sinking fastball. It starts on the inner part of the plate and runs off the plate.
He's pitched against the Blue Jays twice. He's got 7 wins this year. 2 of them have been against the Blue Jays because of that pitch right there. That sinker in on the right-handers. Blue Jays have a lot of righties in the lineup tonight.
The appeal down to first base is denied.
And I think that's one of the reasons why he has been successful so far. Porcello this year, he has pitched in. He has to pitch in, especially with that sinker.
Interesting, they're trying to pitch Donaldson up, and after what you said about Farrell, he was thinking sinkers, and Porcello's going with that 4-seamer.
We've seen enough 4-seamers. Uhara tried to do that to him last night, if you remember, in the 8th inning. Tried to go high fastball against Josh, and he homered against him.
Little soft liner to Pedroia. 2 up, 2 down.
Let's take a look at the scouting report for the right-hander, Rick Porcello. Still just 27 years old with fastball who throws 64% of the time, and we've seen some low 90s already. This one says he's averaged about 90 miles an hour with that fastball, changeup, curveball, slider, and he's going to have to use that sinker, I think. He's going to have to pitch inside and use the curveball.
Edwin Encarnacion hitting in the 3rd spot. Edwin had a sac fly in last night's game, finished up 0 for 4 with a ribby.
Seems like he's been around forever, doesn't it?
Porcello?
Rick Porcello.
Came up when he was 20 years old with the Tigers in 2009. He won 14 games, won 14-9, and was 3rd in the American League Rookie of the Year voting.
So he should be just heading into his prime physically.
There's a drive to the alley. Nobody's going to get this one. And one hops, and Jackie Bradley Jr. takes it on a bounce, and Encarnacion slides in with a 2-out double. Double number 11 for Edwin.
Trying to establish that fastball against Edwin Encarnacion. He's one of the best fastball hitters in the American League. He doesn't miss too many of them. If you miss as a pitcher and you throw it in a sweet spot, double, you should feel very happy that that ball stayed in the ballpark. Jackie Bradley gets to that ball and gets it in quickly, so Edwin has to hustle all around first base and into second base sliding.
Yeah, he was hustling. Jackie Bradley Jr. has 5 outfield assists, and he can really throw. So even though he got that ball on the warning track, it was still close in second. Michael Saunders now. Saunders is 0 for 10 against Rick Porcello. Still over 300 at 302. Ball on the strike.
Michael likes that ball away, as you can tell. He really strides into the ball, and he can spray the ball around the field, but the defense doesn't indicate that. They are playing him to pull on the infield, hit the ball the other way in the outfield.
Well, he got that in tight on the hands of Saunders. Again, the Blue Jays are going to have to be patient enough to take those borderline pitches. They run so much, and I know it's difficult to make a quick judgment, but he relies on pitching off the plate.
Pitch it off the plate. It's going to be very hard for the left-handers with that little swing back two-seam fastball on the inner half. You can't give up on it.
Porcello strikes out Saunders. The Blue Jays leave a runner in scoring position. We've played an inning. It's scoreless here at Rogers Center.
He was placed on the 15-day disabled list with a right quad strain. He said, unfortunately, it was just not getting better, and it was time to make a decision. He said he felt it more last night out on the field, and in particular, in his first step. He said he was feeling a lot more hesitant and wasn't quite himself on making a couple of those plays. He said you saw him not feeling comfortable enough to get his feet set, and you saw him overthrow the baseball to Justin Smoak early in the ballgame. An MRI revealed a low-grade strain, nothing serious, but just enough to put him on the DL. In the meantime, Tulowitzki told me he will use the days to receive treatment, work out in the weight room, basically anything and everything he's allowed to do, Buck, in order to get better.
Yeah, it'll probably be a situation where he will be ready to come off at the end of the 15-day stint on the disabled list. Oftentimes when players have injuries, it takes longer than 15 days, but this seems to be the type of injury that, you know, he'll probably be better in about a week,
10 days.
10 days or so to get that stroke back and get back into the lineup.
You know, and it's the right thing also. The last thing you want to do for a ball club is play short for a week to 10 days. So he goes on the disabled list. Aaron Loup, you saw him here today, was added to the roster.
Hanley Ramirez takes a strike. It's 0-2. Ramirez at first base. He was the DH in last night's game. David Ortiz did not play in the game. You see, he's had a good run against the Blue Jays this season. 11 hits so far for Ramirez.
Done pretty well as a first baseman. First year as a full-time first baseman. No errors for Ramirez and making great plays over there.
Well, obviously he's a great athlete. He played shortstop for the majority of his career, and they tried an experiment with him in left field. It just didn't work. I believe he was just too far away from the action. You get distracted standing out in the outfield. Breaking ball that hung inside. Michael Saunders backing up on the warning track, and Marcus Stroman got away with one right there.
Yes, he did. It was a hanging breaking ball, and Hanley Ramirez could not extend enough through that baseball. That ball got into him just a little bit. Watch his hands and watch where the bat travels through the strike zone. Hanging breaking ball. He wanted this one down and away. You can see just can't get extended and get those arms away from his body, and that kept the ball in the ballpark.
Yeah, this breaking ball didn't break, and you can see how Ramirez had to draw his hands in and never really got the extension. One down, Jackie Bradley Jr. .341. We mentioned he's second in the American League in batting average. What do you see different from Jackie Bradley Jr. this year?
Plate coverage. He's covering all the pitches now. Before, you could throw the ball down and away, he'd swing at it, or up and in. There was a little hole right above his hands that you could pound on the inside part of the plate, and 9 times out of 10 he would swing right through it. I think confidence has a lot to do with that too. Get a few hits, start to feel good about yourself. This guy hit in the minor leagues. I think it was just a matter of time before he got comfortable at the big league level.
Chili Davis has worked along with his assistant hitting coach Victor Rodriguez, and they've done a nice job with these young players. There's Victor Rodriguez. Ground ball. Smoke backs up. He'll have to shovel to Stroman, who's there in plenty of time.
This Marcus Stroman start is brought to you by BioSteel Sports Nutrition, the natural choice for everyday performance. Drink the pink.
Beautiful afternoon. We're just a couple blocks away from Lake Ontario. 2 outs. This is Travis Shaw, who's playing at third base this afternoon. Travis Shaw, just like Dustin Pedroia, has worn out the Blue Jays. He's got a 14-game on-base streak against the Jays and hitting .400.
Everything that Travis swings at when a Blue Jay throws the ball to him seems to find a hole. Yesterday he had a broken bat hit against the Blue Jays. He also got on base on an error and came around to score. There are just certain teams, guys, they just feel comfortable against. And he obviously looks very comfortable against the Blue Jays.
Pitch up is fouled off the catcher's mitt. 2-2 to Travis Shaw.
He's from Ohio. Big Ohio State Buckeye fan. Okay, take a look underneath his bat handle when he raises it. That's the Buckeye sticker right there. He loves Ohio State.
Those are the stickers that football players put on their helmets when they are awarded some kind of a team accomplishment.
Put it right on the bottom of your bat for good luck.
Not this time. Marcus Stroman beats the Buckeye. A strikeout. 1-2-3 in the second.
Hinchcliffe takes on fellow Canadian Alex Tagliani and a field of greats from the pole position at the historic Brickyard. Don't miss the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500 tomorrow on Sportsnet 360 and City, plus stream live on Sportsnet Now. And of course, we give Alex and James our best, Buck.
Absolutely we do, and that's another sign that summer is here. The running of the Indy 500 and the kayaks are out over on Lake Ontario. And it is certainly a summer-like day here this afternoon. For the Blue Jays, Justin Smoak will lead things off. Smoak changed his approach a little bit this season. It's really paid dividends.
Yeah, he said when he first came up, he felt like being a first baseman, he had to be a big power hitter, so he'd get back on that back leg and try to pull the ball. He said, well, this year, he says, I've got a little bit more rhythm in my swing. I've got a little bit more balance in my stance, and if I put a good swing on a ball, I'm going to hit it out of the ballpark. I looked at some of his home runs. One has gone to left, one has gone to center, and hit one last night to right, so now he has 2 to right field. He says, I don't have to muscle up a ball now like I thought I did. I can just put a good swing on it, and it's going to leave the ballpark.
I mean, he's a big guy and has a pretty swing, but sometimes hitters believe they have to generate power when, in fact, you put a good swing on it, and it's going to go.
That's right. You can see he's more balanced at the plate. It's not back on that back leg where his first movement is going forward.
Porcello's using more of that high fastball than the Blue Jays anticipated.
That's very interesting. You know, Porcello, sinker ball type of pitcher, sinker slider. Well, today at least, early in this game, it's forcing fastballs up.
Ground ball. Pedroia comes in from shallow right to throw out Smoke, 1 down. Rick Porcello made his first 2 starts of the season against the Blue Jays. And Jose Bautista hit a 2-run home run off of Porcello in the first inning. He saw him, and then he hit a second home run in the same game. A solo shot in the third.
Balls that were up. 13 starts against the Blue Jays, 14 career games, 13 starts. He's gone 6 innings. At least 6 innings in 10 of them, so he's had his share of success against the Jays.
Russell Martin playing this afternoon game after the night game last night. Of course, R.A. Dickey will pitch on Sunday, so that means Josh Thole will be behind the plate. Off the end of the bat, Porcello will flip to Ramirez. 2 quick outs here in the second.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Rogers 4K TV. Get closer to the action with 4 times the resolution of HD alone.
Devin Travis starting at second base since his recall off the minor league roster. He is back in the big leagues and having an impact already.
He's got a good approach, I think, at the plate. An approach that says he's going to hit at the major league level. Thinking about going the other way, but he's got a short swing. He can wait a really long time for that ball to travel and then still make solid contact. You know, one other thing that we have seen from him in the short amount of time that we have watched him is he's got some power now. He can drive a ball out of here to right field.
1-2, 2 outs. Travis was acquired by the Blue Jays from the Detroit Tigers for Anthony Gose. And he was in camp with the Tigers and Rick Porcello in 2014. And he actually got a chance to pinch hit for Victor Martinez and hit a home run in that spring training appearance as a minor leaguer with the Tigers. Gets a piece of that breaking ball. That's the swing right there that created problems for Travis last year when he was dealing with that left shoulder injury, that extended swing where he has to reach for a breaking ball, and that's a good sign. No indications whatsoever of any concern about that strength in the left shoulder.
He actually, as that hits the home plate umpire Mike DeMuro and sends him down, he actually hit a home run in a game in July and then swung and missed on a pitch like that and went on the disabled list. We hope Mike's okay. That caught him flush.
Mike DeMuro, the home plate umpire, being attended to, and watch this. The foul tip catches the umpire squarely in the mask, and it rocked him back on his heels, and he eventually goes down on a knee.
Look at Christian Vasquez trying to help him before he falls. No glove, nothing, no ricochet. That one's flush right in the middle of the face mask.
George Poulos attending to Mike Tamura, the home plate umpire, just making sure he's not showing any signs of a concussion. And there's certain questions, certain protocol that George will ask a player or an umpire when he gets any kind of trauma to the head.
Where are you? What day is it?
What's my name? And yeah, lots of simple things. And then if the early signs indicate anything, they'll go into more extensive tests, of course. Mike Tamura's father, his late father, was an American League umpire for a long time, Lou Tamura. And I played when Mike's father was umpiring. He looks an awful lot like his dad. He has passed away.
It's in his blood, right? It's in his blood.
Absolutely.
Brian Gorman's another umpire who's was his father Lou Gorman? Not Lou Gorman.
His father was. Wow.
Wow, I know. Lou Gorman was a baseball guy. But
GM, yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Gorman's dad was a longtime National League umpire as well. Tom Gorman. Tom Gorman was Brian's father, who umpired for years in the National League from 51 to 77. So they're taking plenty of time to make sure Mike is okay. Obviously, you don't want to. Oh, Brian's going to go in and put the umpiring gear on, it looks like.
Brian is the crew chief. He was at third base last night and third base this afternoon. So.
Yeah, they're going to make a change here, and George must have seen something. They're going to take the Red Sox off the field because Brian Gorman apparently is going to go in and put his home plate gear on and come out and take over behind the plate. So while we attend to the umpires, George Poulos continues to look at Mike Tamura. We'll take a break.
Saturdays is presented by Boston Pizza. Special price kids tickets in the 200 and 500 level outfield seats. Join us pregame outside Gate 10 for inflatables, activities, and lots of fun. After the ball game, kids 14 and under can run the bases just like the pros. Visit BlueJays.com for tickets.
Junior Day Saturday, always a very popular promotion for the kids and all the families. And now Rick Porcello has come back out onto the field to talk to the two umpires remaining on the field.
Do I get to throw any extra pitches in the break in the action?
Trying to stay loose. And what the umpires do, obviously, they have shin guards and chest protectors they wear under their shirts when they home plate, when they're the plate umpire. So Brian Gorman, who was umpiring third for a second day in this series, will put on the home plate gear and get behind the plate as we assume Mike DeMuro was going to lead.
It was interesting. Quinn Wolcott was behind the plate last night, and then he was replaced this afternoon by Carlos Torres in their rotation. So Brian Gorman, who was at third last night, stays at third base, but today he gets to then throw on the gear to finish this one up.
Two of the umpires on this crew, Nick Lentz and Carlos Torres, are both what they call call-up umpires. They will come in and join a crew when one of the regular umpires is taking a break or has an injury or needs some time off. They will come up and fill in. Nick Lentz is number 59, and on right, Carlos Torres is number 37. It's something that the umpires have done recently. We never used to know umpires. They didn't have numbers.
Right.
They never wore numbers on their uniform. And years ago, of course, they wore sport coats. While we could continue to wait for the umpires, we will break away for a while.
Ball game, book a WestJet Plus fare. It's more than a seat. It's a premium experience for a smart price. Bye.
Thank you very much, Hazel May, and a great opportunity today out in the WestJet flight deck to enjoy a great afternoon. Meet with your friends. Brian Gorman, this is his 25th year as an umpire. He joined the Major League staff in 1993. He's worked All-Star games, World Series, playoffs. He's a real veteran.
Thought he was going to have a quote off day over at third base. Not so fast.
So it's a 1-2 count with 2 outs to Devin Travis. No score. We're in the bottom of the second. Ground ball to short. Bogarts rounds it. Rights himself. Just in time to get Travis. So after that long delay, Porcello retires Travis. We've played 2 innings. No score. came into this series with red hot bats. You look at what they did a year ago at this point. After 48 games, they were 22-26. They're 10 games over this season, 29-19. In fact, big difference. They're pitching much better, but offensively, that's been the big turnaround for this club.
It really has. Look at the batting average in 2016 as a team, 294, and the runs scored nearly 100 runs more this year through their first 48 games for John Farrell's team. That's why they are 29-19. They own 3 of the top 4 batting averages, highest batting averages in the American League. They also have 6 different players with 25-plus RBIs, most in the major leagues.
This is Chris Young, who takes the first pitch outside. Young starting in left field today. Young Blake Swihart, the converted catcher, played left last night. He went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Bouncing ball. Donaldson bare hands and throws in time. Oh, Donaldson. We talk about this all the time. I have never seen a third baseman make as many barehanded plays as Josh Donaldson.
You have the normal bare hand play where you come in and scoop it, but Josh will catch balls when they're bouncing as hard as that ball was. Comes in, bare hands it, and in one motion throws it across the diamond. Nice play on the other end by Justin Smoak to shuffle his feet. But look at that. That's a normal ground ball that he catches with his bare hand and fires over to first base.
You know what's interesting about that play? If he uses his glove to catch it, it really throws his body off balance.
He has to take another step or two to get himself balanced. You heard coaches in the minor leagues always, whenever you can use your glove, use your glove. I guess Josh wasn't there that day.
But the bounce of the ball was taking him a little bit toward the foul line, and if he reaches for his glove, that's going to put a lot more torque on his body, and then that throw might have been more challenging. He didn't miss a beat. Christian Vasquez had a 2-run single in last night's game. That was in the 7th inning. And that made it a 1-run game. Two balls and 2 strikes to the Red Sox catcher Marcus Stroman, making his 6th career start against the Red Sox. Base hit up the middle, almost what he did last night with 2 runners on.
The all-new Honda Civic, now available with turbo. The 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Back to the top of the order for the Red Sox, Mookie Betts, the right fielder. First pitch strike to Betts.
About this guy for your leadoff hitter. 9 home runs and 35 RBIs out of the leadoff spots.
And 8 for 8 in steals. He's one of the few complete leadoff hitters in the American League.
Well, he gives you power. You know, Bautista, yeah, he's leading off for the Blue Jays. He gives you power too, but this guy's got some speed. He's got the whole package. Last year, got off to a very slow start and then got hot in June and then carried it through the rest of the season.
Fouled into the seats, out of play. Betts is 0 for 5 in this series. The Blue Jays would just like to keep it that way.
From June 1st to the end of last season, scored 70 runs, hit 13 home runs, had 52 RBIs as a leadoff hitter last season for Boston.
David Price will start in the game tomorrow, and Joe Kelly sitting on the bench enjoying this beautiful afternoon. Price and R.A. Dickey, that's the pitching matchup for the Sunday finale. Ground ball, foul, wide of third. You like Stroman's big stirrups? Old-fashioned socks right there.
He wore that in his last start, didn't he, in Minnesota, and pitched beautifully into the 8th inning.
Two and two, 1 out. They got him. Took something off that pitch. Betts out in front. Second strikeout of the afternoon for Stroman.
Doesn't throw a lot of change-ups when he's out on that mound, but that looked like he really pulled the string. Pulled that one back. He throws about 8% of the time, and that time he really threw the changeup, threw the timing off of Mookie Betts. Good time to use it right there, 2-2.
Dustin Pedroia lined a double down the right field line his first time up. Strike two.
I think that's what you have to do if you're Marcus Stroman. Stay aggressive, attack these guys. The Red Sox hitters, they've got some veterans and they've got some talented youngsters, but they really work over pitchers if you're trying to nibble against them. You have to stay aggressive.
Bouncing ball. Barney has to wait on it. Just in time at first. Nice play by Darwin Barney. Pedroia retired.
TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every Adam Market game live in True HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Thank you very much, Hazel. As the crowd enjoying a gorgeous sunny afternoon with the roof wide open. Another great crowd last night. Over 46,000 in attendance here at Rogers Center. Tends to be a sold-out crowd today and tomorrow as well.
What a great sports weekend here in Toronto. And congratulations to the great season that the Raptors had. Unfortunately, it ended last night.
A great run. They lost to the Cavaliers. There's a base hit down the right field line. Mookie Betts over to cut it off. He's got a strong arm. Here's the throw to second. It's wide and late. Darwin Barney with a leadoff double here in the third. His third double of the season.
He has been coming in when getting the opportunity to play for the Blue Jays and contributing defensively and offensively for Toronto. Looked like a ball down and away, inside out swing, and he's able to get it by Ramirez and keep it fair down the right field line, and he's thinking 2 all the way. Betts comes up firing, but the throw is a little bit offline, and Darwin Barney's got another extra base hit.
Barney was an everyday player with the Cubs for 3 seasons, 2011, 12, and 13. Played 141 games in 2013, his last season as an everyday player. Kevin Pillar now shows bunt. Vasquez has a terrific arm. He throws it into center, and Jackie Bradley Jr. was there to back him up. Vasquez, one of the pure throwing catchers in all of baseball. He's got a terrific arm.
He's got a quick release. He's got quick feet. And this is a tough play for the runner at second base. When you bunt through a ball or you pull it back, you get hung up out there, and Vasquez came in and fired down to second base. Porcello's got a duck out of the way, but that throw wasn't near him. But the heads-up play by Jackie Bradley in center field. He came hard charging to back that play up.
Kevin Pillar chases that pitch inside again. We mentioned that Brooks Jacoby, the hitting coach, has talked to his players about laying off that inside fastball that looks like a strike, as it'll run off the plate inside. Base hit, fair ball down the right field line. Here comes Barney around third. Pillar is headed for second. Back-to-back doubles, and the Blue Jays take the lead.
Just doing his job, trying to move that runner, hit the ball to the right side of the infield, and he kicks it almost a carbon copy of Darwin Barney's hit. Past Ramirez, between the bag and the defender. High cutter. Look how he gets on top of that ball, cuts his swing down, and somehow he's able to keep that ball fair. Darwin Barney's going to score easily as Pillar changes places with him.
For Pillar, that's double number 15 on this season. Bautista takes the first pitch breaking ball. Bautista with a good cut. 0-2. Jose's batting average might be down, but his production is consistent. Bautista has 34 RBIs.
And he has walked more than he has struck out this year. 39 walks and 35 strikeouts. Just great at bats, it seems like, every time he steps into that batter's box. And the way that he has hit against Rick Porcello in his career, I'm not asking him to hit the ball to the right side of the infield to move that runner. I'm asking him to drive him in.
He wasn't thinking about a soft single to right on that swing.
Does he ever?
There are times when he'll go to right, but he has 3 career home runs against Rick Porcello, including 2 in the first game Porcello threw this season against the Jays. Kevin Pillar with an RBI double at second. For Pillar, that double with a runner in scoring position snapped a personal 0-for-11 streak for Pillar with runners in scoring position. Darwin Barney started it with the leadoff double. Fly ball into shallow center. That's going to drop for a base hit. Pillar will have to stop at third. Bautista drops one in front of Jackie Bradley Jr. Had a little problem with his footing out there in center.
When you've got Bautista, you got to respect the power, so you play a little bit deep. Then you see the big swing from Jose. And let's see what Jackie Bradley does in center field. Momentarily hesitates, and that ball drops in. Pillar's caught out in no man's land. He's got to read the outfield. And he can only move up to third base. Nobody out. You don't want to be taking any chances on the bases.
So it's first and third for Donaldson. Remember, there are only 3 umpires as Mike DeMuro, the home plate umpire, took a foul ball in the mask and he has left the ball game. So the umpires have to really communicate on their coverage here. Playing an umpire short. Nobody out. Blue Jays with a run in here in the bottom of the third. Josh Donaldson hit a soft liner to second his first time up. That bat flew through that zone that time.
Yeah, it's looking quicker, isn't it? It looks like he's on everything. Yesterday, 4 hits, 5 RBIs. Every one of his hits yesterday put the Blue Jays in the lead.
That's really significant. You mentioned that fact, and it hasn't happened in 50 years. Eddie Matthews did it for the Braves against the St. Louis Cardinals. He drove in 6, but every one of Donaldson's hit came with the score tied, and it gave the Blue Jays the lead.
What's new? What's new with Josh Donaldson? I mean, he's had the most game-winning hits over the last 2 seasons than anybody.
Donaldson has 40 game-winning hits since the start of 2014, 1 more than Albert Pujols. Two balls, 2 strikes. I tell you what, when he is swinging like that, fighting off that pitch, he's getting dangerous.
Next thing you know, he'll be driving the ball to right center field. Like we saw yesterday, his home run, his second home run, came right down the right field line. Staying on the ball, they were trying to pump high fastballs to him, and he knew it. He was able to stay on top of it and drive it out to right field. Then you spin a slider and you hang it and he pulls it.
Inside. They're working over Porcello here in the third. Edwin Encarnacion had a double his first time up. Pilar's at third, Bautista's at first. Nobody out. Porcello took a long time to get to the pitch he wanted, so Donaldson asked for time.
Hitting is all about rhythm and timing, and at the plate, and Donaldson was ready, but he made him wait. So Josh did the right thing, stepped out.
Porcello's gotten away with a few pitches in this at bat.
I count 3. 3 of them that were right in his happy zone, Josh's happy zone, that he just fouled off.
That's not a very comforting feeling for a pitcher, to know you've gotten away with mistakes to a dangerous hitter. Another 3-2 pitch.
Ball 4.
Bases are loaded. What a good at bat. Pass the baton to the next guy. That's going to bring the pitching coach out. Carl Willis took over last year early in the season. Replaced Juan Nieves, the former pitching coach, and Willis has had a pretty impactful tenure here with the Red Sox.
What a turnaround the pitching staff have put together since last year for Boston. It's had an effect on Rick Porcello, making him use his fastball just a little bit more. Willis has been a pitching coach on some pretty good teams, the Cleveland Indians and the Seattle Mariners, and now the Boston Red Sox.
Willis was a pitcher himself several seasons in the majors. There's the bullseye for Double E. He's already doubled here this afternoon, hit a double into the alley in left center. Edwin wasn't quite set. Porcello was already on the rubber, so he asked for time to get set. Nobody out, bases loaded. Edwin has talked about being a little bit over aggressive, not swinging at his pitch, chasing some borderline pitches as they continue to work him away. That hit Edwin, and now John Farrell is going to come out and argue that it was a swing. First base umpire Nick Lentz signaling no swing, and Edwin is hit by the pitch. Pilar comes in to score. And now Farrell is arguing his case with Brian Gorman,
saying, how can you, if you swing and the ball hits you, it's a swing. It's not a hit by a pitch. And John Farrell's saying, how can the ball end up out in front of home plate if you don't call it a swing? But it's a tough RBI for Edwin. That fastball coming in clips him right on the hand. And called no swing. How did the ball ricochet out? No swing. John Farrell doesn't like the answer he got.
So he is back out once again, and they're going to ask for a review. He has summoned in the 2 umpires. And now they're going to go to the review. Brian Gorman just wasn't sure where the headsets were here. So Encarnacion is hit by the pitch. With the bases loaded, Pilar comes in from third to score.
This is under review for if the ball got hit by the bat or hit by the hand or the barrel of the bat.
Whether or not he had a swing at it, that's probably what's in question. This replay review is powered by Samsung, and it didn't take them long.
Saw everything they needed.
So 2 runs in this inning, and the Blue Jays have a chance to really bust it wide open early. The bases are still loaded, still nobody out. Michael Saunders, the batter, he struck out in his first at bat.
He's going to be ready for that first pitch. No place to put him. You know Porcello wants to get ahead quickly. Strike 1.
He came after him. Michael Saunders with 1 career grand slam. Oh, 1-2. Three hits, a walk, and a hit batter this inning for the Blue Jays. Ground ball. Bogaerts will go to the bag, steps on for 1, back to first for 2, but Bautista comes in to score, and it's a 3-0 Blue Jays lead. No RBI for Michael Saunders, but the Blue Jays get another run on the board.
This rally by the Jays, it's like drip, 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 drip. You need that one big hit to clear the bases. Knocking 2-3 runs at a time just to really bust this thing open. Red Sox played the infield back. They will exchange a run for a couple of outs.
Justin Smoke, he grounded out to second base his first time up. Donaldson is at third now.
No chance for a bunt now, so Travis Shaw, the third baseman, is going to take his spot on the right side of the infield.
Smoke high and deep to center. Jackie Bradley's breaking it down. He'll make the catch on the warning track. But the Blue Jays break through with 3 runs in the bottom of the third, take a 3-0 lead. Here comes the Ultimate Cleanup Crew, brought to you by Home Hardware's exclusive line of the Ultimate hard-hitting and tough-on-grime cleaning products. Surprise of this season so far for the Blue Jays has been the turnaround of the starting rotation. And Pat, through 50 games, this rotation has been terrific.
The hitting last year, I thought, covered up some of the deficiencies in the starting rotation for the Blue Jays. They just slugged their way to the top. This year, they're pitching and playing good defense. They've shaved a run and a half off of the earned run average. The opponent batting average is down by 35 points. They're not walking as many people. They're going deeper into the ball game. If they can combine the great starting pitching like they have been getting through the first 50 games, combine that with some hitting that we saw last year, this is a team that can really go on one of those long winning streaks.
They sure can, and all the starters have really been able to pitch deep into ball games. They have pitched more innings than any pitching staff in baseball. Starting staff coming into this game, 324 2/3 innings. And among the American League, they're first in on-base OPS, they're first in opponent's batting average, and second in ERA. This ball is hit to left center. Michael Saunders is going to watch it bounce on top of the fence and go out of the ballpark. That ball just kept carrying it right on top of the fence in left center and bounced over the wall for a home run for Xander Bogaerts.
Xander Bogaerts had 92 strike hits last year, which led Major League Baseball. He steps to the plate here against Marcus Stroman and falls behind 2 strikes. No big deal. He gets another 2-strike hit. Front door cutter, and that is right down Broadway. And this guy is the best hitter in the American League right now. Shows you why. Not afraid to hit with 2 strikes.
David Ortiz cuts this one to left field. That's a base hit. Michael Saunders over to cut it off, and it goes all the way to the wall. Ortiz is headed for second. That's his 23rd double of the season.
You know, if Michael could have gotten over there, and he was playing him the pole in the left center field, but if he could have gotten over there and cut the ball off, Ortiz doesn't run very well. He could have held him to a single. But that ball kept slicing away from Michael down the left field line. He just could not cut this ball off. Ortiz, what a season he is putting together.
He leads the American League with 23 doubles. He's 4 doubles ahead of Manny Machado, and Saunders just has trouble getting it out of that corner. Home run and a double for Boston here in the 4th. Hanley Ramirez flew out to left field his first time up. Two balls and no strikes. Three and 0.
That one just off the plate. David Ortiz thinking 2. Finally makes its way into second base, and whew, deep breath. That's a long way. Normally he just trots around the bases.
So Ramirez walks on 4 pitches. So it's been a rough start to the inning for Marcus Stroman. His ball club scored 3 in the bottom of the 3rd. He gives up home run, double, and now a walk.
Stop the bleeding. That's what you're looking for right here. Your team scores 3 in the bottom of the inning. You give one back on an 0-2 mistake. Now you just want to stop the bleeding.
Jackie Bradley Jr. takes a first pitch ball, excuse me, as Stroman's all of a sudden having trouble finding the strike zone.
That looked like a pretty good pitch right there. Russell Martin acknowledging to his pitcher that he thought that was a pretty good pitch. Stay right there. I think you have to stay aggressive against the Red Sox. You saw the at bat right there by Hanley Ramirez. Pitches that were close, he wasn't going to bite at them. It's a very patient group, but you have to keep the pressure on them by pounding that strike zone.
Glove by Barney, flip to Travis for the double play. Ortiz double up. The Blue Jays had a similar double play on a line drive to 3rd in last night's game when Hanley Ramirez was doubled off 2nd.
And that ended the 4th inning and stopped a scoring threat by the Boston Red Sox. They only got 1 run on 3 hits that inning. Ortiz gets a little bit too far in a very slow reaction to get back to the base, and a huge double play by the Blue Jays. Look at Devin Travis sprinting over to the bag, finds the bag and the ball at the same time.
Well, good teamwork by Barney and Travis to complete that double play. Travis Shaw goes after the first pitch. Boy, isn't it interesting how one defensive play can turn the complexion of an inning totally 180 degrees. Troy Tulowitzki went on the disabled list prior to this game today with that quad injury. Line to Donaldson. That's a hang with him. Good job by Marcus Stroman and the defense limiting the damage to just a single run.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Beautiful Saturday afternoon here at Rogers Center. The Blue Jays have a 3-1 lead. Some nifty defense in the top half of the fourth. Russell Martin shows bunt, takes a strike.
Boy, that inning looked like it was 3 runs for sure. But the defense pulls Marcus Stroman out.
Home run, double walk, and then the line drive double play. Russell pulls it foul. Darwin Barney has had an impactful start to his day. He had a leadoff double in the third. That key to 3-run inning. Josh Donaldson has walked so far today. Blue Jays lineup getting contributions up and down the order so far. Brooks Jacoby always communicating with his hitters just about what they're seeing at the plate, what the pattern has been, how the ball is coming out of the pitcher's hand, trying to get as much information as possible. There's an off-speed pitch. Martin strikes out. Second strikeout for Porcello.
Rick Porcello, when he gets to 2 strikes, he can get you with the changeup, the curveball, the slider. That time it looked like a changeup. He'll throw it 13% of the time when he gets to 2 strikes, and he's got a good one. Fingers are barely on the ball. He really tucks it back into his palm of his hand and throws it as hard as he can.
Devin Travis fouls off the first pitch. There's another change of that one up and out of the strike zone.
He delivers his pitches other than the fastball, his off-speed pitch, the changeup, the curveball, and the slider, all about the same percent, which makes it very difficult for hitters to sit on one pitch in one zone, in one count. I still think Porcello has to pitch off of his fastball, and he has to pitch inside. Just makes everything else that much tougher to hit.
Broken bat, one hopper to Bogaerts. He handles it flawlessly. 2 down. We want to remind you, we'll be right back at it tomorrow. It all starts at 12:30. That's the pregame show. David Price against R.A. Dickey. And we want to remind you that tomorrow there will be a 40th season celebration presented by Rogers, celebrating great offensive franchise Blue Jays players. There'll be a bunch of alumni on hand, including John Mayberry, Ernie Witt, Tony Fernandez, Lloyd Mosby, Jesse Barfield, Roberto Alomar, Carlos Delgado, Sean Green, Jose Cruz Jr., and Vernon Wells.
And the master of ceremonies, you'll be down there, huh?
I'll be down there with him.
Nice.
A lot of great offensive players who will highlight some of the great offensive moments of the 40 seasons of Blue Jays baseball. This ball is going to be trouble. Darwin Barney around first. He's headed for second. Up against the wall. He's making the turn. The relay is over the cutoff man, and Barney has a triple. They had a shot at Barney. Had the throw gone to Pedroia, he was out as the cutoff man, but they airmailed Pedroia, and once that happened, Barney was easily into third.
Yeah, it looked like Jackie Bradley was going to try and throw the ball all the way to second base, thinking that Barney was going to be there, but he's thinking 3 as soon as this ball touches down in right center field. Jackie Bradley picks it up and fires it all the way into second base, but Barney is at third base with the triple. He's got a fabulous arm. You can see the one cutoff man that he missed. That was Pedroia. So now the Blue Jays need a 2-out hit.
Kevin Pillar had a beautiful double just inside the bag at first. For Darwin Barney, that's his 14th career triple. He's also had a double this afternoon. Swing and a drive. Stay fair ball. Just foul.
Boy, he got his hands through quickly on that pitch on the inner half. Pillar goes, he looked for the ball in there at times, and it just hooks foul.
Oh, and 2. Porcello strikes out Pillar. They leave a base runner at third. We'll go to the 5th. The Blue Jays have a 3-1 lead. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Enjoying those big comfy green chairs in the TD Comfort Zone are guests of TD. While over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse are folks from the Rookie League Toronto Selects. Welcome everybody. Hope you're enjoying the ballgame.
Great crowd on hand in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse. We're glad you're here. Blue Jays having a good start to their afternoon. They have a 3-1 lead against Boston and Rick Porcello. It'll be 8-9-1 for the Sox here in the 5th. Chris Young, Christian Vasquez, and back to the top of the order, Mookie Betts.
Chris Young getting some playing time this afternoon. They're missing Brock Holt, who had been their starting left fielder. He would normally play against right-handed pitching, but he is on the disabled list for a concussion. Not really sure when he will be back.
Yeah, concussions are very, very fragile. You want to be very careful with them, and you never know when a player is going to be cleared to play. John Farrell just has to wait that out. The concussion list is a little different than a regular disabled list. It's 7 days, so they have implemented that 7-day concussion DL just for the opportunity to get a player off the roster and not hamstring the team. Young strikes out. One down here in the top of the 5th.
Save during Canada's Color Expert Sale, only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Catcher Christian Vasquez Rips this one inside the line. That's a fair ball up against the wall in left. Saunders over to play it. And Christian Vasquez is 2 for 2 against Stroman this afternoon.
You know, there was questions about whether this guy was going to hit Christian Vasquez. First of all, the way he can catch and call a ball game, I don't care what he hits, he's going to be a value back there. But you watch him hit, he's going to hit in the major leagues. He's got a good stroke. He doesn't overswing. You can see he stays back on that ball and hits it solidly down the left field line for extra bases. Just another catcher in the long line, a great catcher that came out of Puerto Rico.
He played 7 years in the minors before breaking into the big leagues in 2014. He missed all of last season after undergoing Tommy John surgery. It's tough on a catcher to have that Tommy John surgery. Vasquez has come back very well, and his arm looks to be as strong as it was before.
Matt Wieters is another catcher who missed a season because of that Tommy John, and he's just now getting back to catching full time.
Mookie Betts rolls it to third. Donaldson backhands and not in time. Betts made a move towards second. You can see everybody now converging toward the bag. Mookie Betts looked like he took a little bit of a slight turn toward second, but no one was near first base. Vasquez goes to third on the infield hit for Mookie Betts.
His position is now unoccupied as he goes after the ball, so that allows Vasquez to get into third base. Watch Mookie Betts. There's really no play for Donaldson, no chance to get him because he runs too well. Vasquez moves up, and Betts looked like he was going to go to second base. There were no defenders there.
Dustin Pedroia has doubled. Takes a first pitch strike. The Blue Jays have turned one double play today. It was a line drive double play. Darwin Barney flipped to Devin Travis to double off David Ortiz at second on the line drive. There goes Betts. Hit and run is on. That's a fair ball. Vasquez is in to score. They decoyed Betts to a full stop, but he's going to come around to score anyway. Mookie Betts broke on contact. They decoyed him at second, and he came to a complete stop, but has enough speed to pick his momentum up again, and Pedroia drives home two.
Just too good of an athlete, Mookie Betts, to slow him down. He's at first base, and any kind of extra base hit, and he is going to score. One more time. Pedroia doubled his first time up into the right field corner. He does it again his third time up. Right down the right field line. The runner takes off. He's going to score. As a middle infielder, what you want to do is you want to act like the throw is coming to you. Hopefully you get that runner to slow down. Betts stopped, like you said, but he's athletic enough to start again and score the tying run.
Second double for Pedroia, RBI number 21 and 22. It's a 3-3 game. Bogaerts homered in his last at bat.
This is a dynamic offense that just keeps coming after you and keeps coming after you. Not a lot of soft spots in that lineup.
Base hit to left field. Pedroia had to hold to make sure it went through safely. He moves up to third. Bogaerts is 2 for 3. 4 hits in the inning.
Struck out Chris Young to open the inning, then double, infield hit, double, and now another hit. Little sinker by Marcus Stroman. He'll throw a lot of ground balls, and he'll get a lot of ground balls. Sometimes those ground balls find the hole. That time for Bogaerts, it's his second hit.
You mentioned that the Red Sox have a very balanced attack, and they put the bat on the ball. Marcus Stroman has pitched well on the road, not the same at home. What do you think the difference is?
You know, I don't have an explanation for that, because the pitching rubber is still 60 feet 6 inches. It's the same thing, the same mechanics, same everything. For some reason, though, the ERA is approaching 6 when he pitches here at Rogers Center. I guess we'd have to go back and see who he has pitched against on the road. He's at Tampa, at Baltimore, at San Francisco, and at Minnesota. Where at home he's faced Boston. This is the second time for them. Tampa, the White Sox, the Dodgers, all very good offensive teams.
In a good hitter's ballpark. David Ortiz. Ball and a strike to the DH. Ortiz batting .339 after the double in the 4th. Three ball game. Pedroia at third. Bogaerts at first. David Ortiz, one of the smartest hitters in the game. Stroman and Martin trying to outwit him here.
Where do you go? Threw a ball away from him last time. He hit it to left field.
That hit him on the foot. And the question was, did he swing? And the umpire says yes. And Ortiz can't believe it. He went around. He said, the ball hit me, but you swung at it.
Yeah, that takes precedent, swinging at the ball first. And if they call it a swing for strike 3 and the ball hits you, you're out. And I think John Farrell is telling him that. If the umpire out at second base said no swing, then it becomes a hit batter.
He gets hit flush on the leg, but watch the bat. He swung at it, no question about it, but it hits him on the left leg. And that got him flush. Look at Martin asking the umpire at second for the appeal. Another look at the breaking ball. Hit him right on top of the foot.
So Bogaerts has to go back to first.
Now Ortiz did not play in the game last night because he's been having leg issues. He's been on base a lot coming into this game. In his previous 5 games, he had 11 hits.
And they talk about him playing on this surface, how it really wears on you after a couple of games, and they were going to give him a day off, maybe even 2 on this surface.
Hanley Ramirez with 2 outs now. Dustin Pedroia with a 2-run double here in the 5th has tied it up. Ortiz still dealing with the effects of being hit by that pitch. The confusion here is Ramirez wasn't set. Stroman was ready. Now Stroman takes his time and going to make Ramirez wait.
That's exactly what's going on between batter and pitcher right now.
There goes the runner. Cut on and missed. No throw from Martin.
That's another aspect that the Red Sox have, the stolen base. They've got the best stolen base percentage in baseball. That's 32 for 35 now for the Red Sox on the season.
And they've been caught 5 times, and they pick their spots very prudently. 2 runners in scoring position for Hanley Ramirez. Just missed the outside corner. Ramirez walked in the fourth, and he flied out in the second. Stroman threw him a breaking ball that spun on the inside part of the plate, and Hanley Ramirez never could get fully extended. Everything's down and away in this at bat. Breaking ball outside. It's a full count, 2 outs. Jackie Bradley Jr. is on deck. You're right. This lineup is tough.
No rest spots. No place that you can navigate yourself to and say, okay, I can get this guy out. They're just tough, professional at-bats.
Line drive to left. Pedroia's in. Bogart's right behind him. Hanley Ramirez is headed for second. Here's the throw. They got a shot. And Ramirez is out. Devin Travis may have been spiked by Ramirez as he slid over the bag. Michael Saunders throws him out at second. But the Red Sox score 4 in the top of the 5th to take the lead. Second outfield assist by Saunders, but Boston has the lead. Hanley Ramirez at second base, but the damage was done as Ramirez drives home 2 with this base hit.
Looked like a changeup that was on the inner half, and he rips it down the left field line. He's thinking to himself, now the slide is a very aggressive slide into second base, and it looked like he got Devin Travis with his knee. Very aggressive slide, and got his hand down in there. And he is out.
5-3 Boston. The Blue Jays, top of the order, will bat here in the bottom of the 5th. Jose Bautista leading things off.
Let's take a look at that slide one more time. Again, it's in a very aggressive slide by Ramirez. Nothing dirty here, but watch the hand go down. Right there, the right hand, the pinky, gets hit by that spike. And hopefully Devin's okay. He's missed enough time over the last year.
Ramirez with 2 RBIs now has 29 for the season, and Boston has a 2-run lead. 5-3. You get the sense that neither team has finished scoring.
No, and I'm glad the Blue Jays are hitting last. That's how I feel. These are one of those games that's going to go back and forth, just like last night's game. That was back and forth until Donaldson won it in the 8th inning.
High fly ball to left. Chris Young moves over toward the foul line.
This Blue Jays Rogers 4K broadcast is powered by the Samsung 4K SUHD TV.
One out for Josh Donaldson. Josh has lined out and walked. Line drive to left. Clean single for Donaldson with one out.
You know, when you're hitting well, plate coverage becomes very important. And right now, Josh Donaldson has some plate coverage. That looked like a breaking ball down and away. Not a bad pitch from Porcello. But look at Josh go down, covers the plate, covers that pitch, and gets a hit. When you're not swinging well, that's a ground ball to shortstop.
It's all about timing. Plate coverage and timing. And they were synced up for Donaldson. Edwin Encarnacion double and a hit by pitch with the bases loaded. Inside. They have really pitched tough to Edwin. Most pitchers throwing everything away, and when they do come inside, as Porcello did, they miss badly.
Come off the plate. To his credit, he has become very patient at the plate. They can come to him. He's looking for one pitch out over the plate to try and hit into the seats, tie this ball game up.
Edwin hasn't hit a home run since that first game in Minnesota. Eight games ago. 2-1. Edwin nodding. Okay, I was looking for a different pitch and you threw me a strike.
So why swing, right? No need to swing. But if he's looking for a breaking ball and you throw one, he can hit it out of the ballpark anywhere.
Bottom of the fifth inning, Red Sox have a 5-3 lead. Off the end of the bat, Shaw goes to second for one, back to first, double play. Vic Porcello gets the double play, second turn by the Red Sox today after 5 complete. Boston leads it. things off. He'll be followed by Travis Shaw, two of the homegrown regular Red Sox players. When you look at their young core, they've got a lot of talent, and they're very young as well.
When you build a franchise, you got to hit on your first, second, third round draft picks, and that's exactly what the Boston Red Sox have done over the years. Mookie Betts, Bogarts, Bradley Shaw, all draft picks, high draft picks. Swihart was a high draft pick of the Boston Red Sox, and they develop them in their system, and they bring them to the big leagues. And it's not just this core right here or this group right here. The Boston Red Sox have been developing great players for decades and decades. I mean, great players, Hall of Fame type of players. There's another one, Christian Vasquez, that came through the farm system.
This ball is trouble. That's going to split the outfielders and go to the wall. Bounces on top and over the wall for Jackie Bradley Jr. A leadoff ground rule doubled here in the 6th. The Red Sox are teeing off on Marcus Stroman.
It's a very athletic group that we were just talking about. They become baseball players, and if you're an athlete, you can adapt and learn things. Jackie Bradley smokes this ball to right center field, up and over the wall for an extra base hit. That is another double for the Red Sox. Pedroia has a couple, Ortiz has a double, Vasquez has a double, and now Jackie Bradley has a double.
Travis Shaw for 2 so far with a strikeout and a lineout. High fly ball to right. This one is way back and gone. Travis Shaw, a 2-run home run. Second home run for the Red Sox this afternoon. For Shaw, that's his 7th. Well, Dave Dombrowski, the GM for the Red Sox, knows they have a rich farm system. A lot of young players here were drafted and developed by the Red Sox, and they've got more on the way.
Like a changeup or something that was up for Shaw, and he's become a power hitting third baseman. I told you that he has really worn out the Blue Jays in his career. It's just as Chavez gets up and starts to get loose.
7-3 Boston. Chris Young has gone 0 for 2 so far. Hot shot. Donaldson knocks it down. He's going to have to hurry. Not in time. Chris Young reaches first. Donaldson had that ball right in front of him, but the Karam got too far away from him once it bounced off his glove.
They call it the hot corner for a reason. This ball is stung by Young right at Donaldson. Josh tries to get down. He gets the glove on it, but then it just kicks away too far, and he will be charged with his 4th error of the season.
First error of the ball game. Christian Vasquez has had a perfect day, and there goes Young, and Russell drops the ball. Another stolen base for the Red Sox. That's the first for Young this season.
Only been thrown out 3 times in 36 attempts this whole season. That's another part of their game that really goes unnoticed. That would have been a huge play if he came up with that ball that skipped to him.
Nobody out. Young in scoring position at second. Saw Pete Walker and John Gibbons talking on the bench, trying to contemplate their next move down to the bullpen. R.E. Dickey will start tomorrow against David Price. Dickey has pitched very well of late. Doesn't have much to show for it. And he'll go to the mound against David Price, who's 7-1 with an ERA over 5.
Seems like whenever he pitches against the other team's #1. So he almost has to be perfect.
Throw to second. That ball gets away. Travis is backing up the play. Pretty good throw by Stroman, and Young got back. It looked like this base runner and the ball got to second about the same time.
Right when he was leaning on that right foot, he turns and throws, and unfortunately can't come up with the ball.
Way outside. Marcus Stroman handled the Red Sox through the first 3 innings. Pedroia had a double in the first, and Vasquez had a ground ball base hit in the third. That was it.
He has struggled since then. Really has. Third time through the lineup.
Bogaerts hit a 0-2 leadoff home run in the fourth. Then Ortiz followed that up with a double. Ramirez walked, but Jackie Bradley Jr. lined into a double play, and Travis Shaw lined out. Even those outs were hard hit balls.
Hard hit balls right at the infielders. If you look at third time through the lineup here, he only retired 1 batter. Really? Strikeout to Ortiz.
Vasquez strikes out. Well, the Red Sox are a tough combination. They're getting pretty good pitching. Their bullpen has been terrific. Their offense has been the best in baseball, and they have gotten off to a good start to their season. 10 games over 500. So Stroman's day will come to an end after striking out Vasquez. Mookie Betts coming to the plate for the 4th time. We'll see a different pitcher. So Stroman is out. Jesse Chavez is in. Boston has a 7-3 lead.
Fans, it all starts Monday. The Stanley Cup Final. Sharks and Penguins. Game 1 for you at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on CBC. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And the matchup is all set now. Jesse Chavez taking over for Marcus Stroman. This will be his 17th appearance of the season.
Jesse last worked 4 days ago in that series in New York. Just a third of an inning, a couple of runs and a couple of walks in that game. Been having trouble this year against left-handers, hitting over 400, righties just 200 as Marcus Stroman looks on.
Really battled his control in his last outing. Mookie Betts had an infield hit his last time up. His first hit of the series. High fly ball into center. Pilar coming in, makes the catch. They talk about the Boston Red Sox and what a great offense they have. They're pitching very well. So when you have a big explosive offense and you pitch well, you're going to have a very good run differential.
How about the best in the American League at +74? Mariners, Indians, White Sox, Orioles round out the top 5, but the guys running away with it are the Boston Red Sox, +74.
John Farrell's ball club, really a dramatic improvement offensively from a year ago. Pedroia hits the breaking ball on the ground. Barney will throw on the run in time. Nice stretch at first by Smoke. Chavez comes in to put out the fire in the 6th. 2 more runs for Boston as they get to Marcus Stroman.
The 2016 Junior Jays Club presented by Boston Pizza. This year's membership kit features a Blue Jays ball cap, sunglasses, backpack, and more. Exclusive access to members-only events such as movie night and photo day with Blue Jays players. Purchase your membership kit at any J-Shop location or by visiting jshop.ca. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. The kids always have a great time. They get to run the bases after this Junior Jays Saturday. And they're all decked out in their Jays memorabilia. Michael Saunders takes the first pitch strike. Blue Jays have 3 runs on 6 hits. The Red Sox have 7 runs on 11 hits and 2 home runs.
Got their work cut out for them because you were talking about their bullpen. The Boston Red Sox bullpen much improved over last year. Everybody keeps talking about the hitting for the Red Sox. The biggest improvement might be the bullpen.
Off speed pitch fouled up. They are second in strikeouts per 9 innings pitched out of the bullpen, 10.13 strikeouts per 9 innings, and they're racking up the strikeouts. They only have 3 blown saves.
They had a lot of soft tossers, if you will, out of their bullpen last year. They went out and found a bunch of guys who throw 95 plus this year.
Matt Barnes, a big hard throwing right-hander, against Craig Kimbrell, the closer. They get a couple of left-handers, Tommy Lane and Robbie Ross Jr. Heath Hembree down in that pen. They lost a big guy they were counting on in Carson Smith, acquired in a trade from Seattle.
Yeah, they were really counting on him. I saw an article the other day. John Farrell was talking about the loss of Carson Smith, and they acquired him basically to pitch against the Blue Jays with all the right-handed pop that they have in power. That he was very nasty. His arm angle and his arm slot very tough against right-handed batters.
Well, a changeup and a good one from Porcello as Saunders strikes out. That's first out in the bottom of the 6th. Porcello, 4 strikeouts today. He's also had 2 double plays turned behind him.
He's also getting some run support now with a 4-run lead. He's settling in. Blue Jays had him on the ropes, I thought, in the 3rd inning. And they were just looking for that one big hit. Really busted open. They could only score 3 runs on 3 hits and a hit batter and a walk.
In that inning, they had Barney leading off with a double. Pilar cashed him in with a double. Bautista had a single to center. Then they got a walk and a hit batter. And all they could manage was 3 runs. Smoke down quickly, 0-2. Porcello coming right at him now. He's got a lead and he's ratcheted it up a notch.
Using his fastball just a little bit more. Saying, okay, here it is. Hit it. He has thrown 89 pitches. So he wants to get another inning in before he gets pulled.
Bounce that breaking ball in the dirt. Porcello came into this ball game with a 7-2 record. They actually sent him down to the minors last year to help him regroup a little bit, and boy, he's come back pitching very well. Another curveball. This one didn't bounce, and Smoke strikes out. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Couple of strikeouts this inning for Rick Porcello. Russell Martin was a strikeout victim in the 4th. Porcello looks like he's just playing catch now.
That's what those runs will do. 7 runs in the last 3 innings. He's now got a 4-run lead.
High and deep to right. Mookie Betts looking up. Home run. Russell Martin. Another opposite field home run for the Blue Jays catcher.
You know, that is the second 0-2 home run we have seen this afternoon. One by the Red Sox and now one by the Blue Jays. Porcello was just trying to elevate that fastball to Russell Martin. I don't think he was necessarily trying to throw a strike. He was just trying to throw it in the upper parts of the strike zone to see if Russell Martin would swing at it. Well, he got too close to the plate. He put a good swing on that high fastball.
3rd home run for Martin. Broken bat, grounder to short. Bogaerts handles it in time, and the inning's over. The Blue Jays get a run back. Russell Martin starting to swing it. It's a great sign. He drives the ball out of the ballpark over the wall in right. Boston still has a 3-run lead. The all-new Honda Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Xander Bogaerts can hit. I think the next thing that comes for him is the power, and this is why right here. 0-2 cutter on the inside part of the plate. Xander Bogaerts is going to knock it over the fence at left field, his 6th home run of the season. It's also a 21-game hit streak for Xander Bogaerts, which is the currently the best hitting streak in Major League Baseball. It's also our drive of the game.
Bogaerts with a 21-game hit streak. Jackie Bradley Jr. had a 29-game hit streak snapped on Thursday. It's the first time in American League history that a ball club has had 2 hitters with hit streaks of 20 games or more before June 1st. The first time.
And that's a long time.
There have been 5 pairs of National League teammates that accomplished that. The last pair were the Giants in 2012, Angel Pagan and Pablo Sandoval. This is going to drop for a base hit. Xander Bogaerts can flat out hit. And now he's going to take second on the air by Pilar. Well, the Blue Jays have not played well defensively in the last few games.
No.
And last night they had a poor game defensively. Donaldson had committed an error on a tough play at third earlier in the game, and now Pilar commits the error that allows Bogaerts to get to second.
Uncharacteristic for the Blue Jays. Normally they take a lot of pride in their defense, and it's just been a little sloppy the last couple days. Kevin Pilar takes his eye off that ball momentarily, just looking up at Bogaerts, who had slowed down and was going to stop, but he could continue into second base. Second error of the afternoon for the Blue Jays.
So David Ortiz has doubled in 3 trips. He struck out on a check swing his last time up. This one gets away from Martin, goes all the way back to the screen. Jesse Chavez busted one inside. Aaron Loup, who has just rejoined the Blue Jays. He was activated, put on the roster when Troy Tulowitzki was disabled right before this ball game. Infield is in for the Blue Jays. Popped up. Barney backs up to the dirt. Shortstop is there, makes the catch. Ortiz pops up with a man at third and nobody out.
Came into this game with 45 RBIs, David Ortiz, and you can see why. The first 3 guys ahead of him seem to always be on base. That time he is denied an RBI.
So now Hanley Ramirez, he drove in 2 his last time up. He had a single to left field, was thrown out trying to advance to second by Michael Saunders. That ended the 5th inning. He's got another RBI on the first pitch. Bogaerts jogs in with the 8th Red Sox run. 3 RBI day for Hanley Ramirez. That'll give him 30. So John Gibbons, a long walk to the mound. He'll make a pitching change here as he's got Aaron Loup coming into the ball game for the first time this season. Chavez is out. Loup is in. Jackie Bradley Jr. will be the batter when we come back to Rogers Center. making his 2016 debut. He had an elbow issue in spring training. You can see he's pitched in 6 games between Dunedin and AAA Buffalo. And Loup last year pitched in 60 games with the Blue Jays. A left-handed addition to the bullpen, and he throws the first pitch strike to Jackie Bradley Jr.
This is his 5th year in the big leagues already. Came up in 2012. Pitched in 33 games for the Blue Jays that year. He is one of the guys they really missed him in spring training, from spring training. That second left-hander. In fact, there are 2 lefties they were counting on really haven't pitched much this year. Brett Cecil's on the disabled list, and now Aaron Loup just getting off the DL.
A couple important parts of their bullpen missing in action. Jackie Bradley Jr. behind 0-2, and there'll be a toss to first to check in on Hanley Ramirez. Loup has seen a lot of the Red Sox in the past. He has handled Jackie Bradley Jr., the center fielder, is 0 for 4. Make it 0 for 5. Loup gets him with the breaking ball. 2 down.
Not sure how long he'll be able to go. He threw in yesterday's game down in Dunedin, and John Gibbons was asked, can he go back to back? And he said, sure. No problem there. Made this look easy on 3 pitches, 3 breaking balls. He creates a very tough angle for left-handed batters.
Travis Shaw, another lefty. Perfect opportunity for Loup. 2 left-handers. Missed with the first pitch away. Ball on a strike. Shaw homered his last time up, a 2-run home run to right. His 7th homer of the season. He now has 35 RBIs. Marcus Stroman is on the hook for his first loss to the Red Sox. Coming into this game, he was 4-0 in 5 previous starts against Boston.
He was good through the first 3 innings today against the best hitting team in the American League, and only given up a couple of scratch hits. Then the 4th, 5th, and 6th inning, that was his undoing.
Stroman gives up 7 earned runs on 11 hits through 5 2/3. 1-2 pitch to Shaw. He wouldn't chase. We mentioned Marcus Stroman's had a tough start to his season here at Rogers Center. With this outing today, his ERA is up to 6.39 at home here at Rogers Center.
You know, and I can't understand that. You know, he's a ground ball type of pitcher. A lot of slow turf. That seems to work in his favor.
Shaw strikes out. Good debut for Aaron Loup. He strikes out 2 left-handed bats in his first appearance of the season.
does super camps across Canada. Learn techniques from former Blue Jays Roberto Alomar, Devon White, Lloyd Moseby, Jesse Barfield, and Dwayne Ward. Register now at bluejays.com/camps, and Buck will see some of those guys at tomorrow's celebration.
We sure will, Hazel. Tomorrow the Blue Jays will celebrate the 40th season, presented by Rogers, celebrating great offensive franchise Blue Jays players. John Mayberry, Ernie Whitt, Tony Fernandez, Lloyd Moseby, Jesse Barfield, Robbie Alomar will be here, as will Carlos Delgado, Sean Green. Great opportunity. It all starts tomorrow at 12:30. It'll be an on-field celebration of some great offensive players in the 40 seasons of Blue Jays baseball.
Should be fun, I think, all summer long, celebrating 40 years of Blue Jay baseball.
There's going to be a great moments celebration, highlighting the great moments in the 40 years of Blue Jays baseball, and then there will be a great pitching celebration, talking about the great pitchers over the history of this organization. And some of those great pitchers will be right here a little later on in the summer.
Blue Jays have been around since 1977. So a relative short period of time when compared to some of these other established organizations. They've had some great players, haven't they? Great players, great moments.
A lot of history, of course, when you win back-to-back World Series. You have some great moments to talk about. They'll start in '85 with the First Division championship. '89-91, culminating with the back-to-back World Series titles in '92 and '93. Darwin Marty bounces it to Shaw at third. One down.
Very accurate across the diamond. His father is Jeff Shaw. If you remember, Jeff Shaw used to pitch for the Montreal Expos when he was a little kid. His dad would make him throw the ball right into his glove, so he had something to aim at every single time. He's a good thrower across the diamond. Very accurate arm at third base.
Matt Barnes loosening up for Boston, as Porcello has one out here in the 7th. Rick Porcello trying for his 3rd win against the Blue Jays this season. He's given up a home run in each of his 3 starts. In fact, he's given up 5 home runs in those 3 starts. Drew Storen loosening up for the Blue Jays. Breaking ball, Bogaerts. High throw. Hanley Ramirez stretching for that throw. It was a little offline, so he couldn't get fully extended.
He was a little undecided, Hanley Ramirez, at first base. Should I try to keep my foot on the base and stretch for this high throw by Bogaerts? You got to read that ball quickly and come off the bag if you have to keep the double play in order. But it bounces into the stands. 2nd error
of the season charged to Xander Bogaerts. And because it went into the stands, Pilar will end up at 2nd base. The 1-out error now back to the top of the order. Well, a chance for the Blue Jays to make some noise here. They're down by 4 in the 7th.
They got the right guys coming up.
Bautista has 3 career home runs against Rick Porcello. This is the 4th time he's faced him this afternoon. You don't see starting pitchers faced hitters 4 times very often in a ball game in this day of pitch counts. In fact, when Jackie Bradley Jr. had his hit streak snapped on Thursday by Jonathan Gray of the Colorado Rockies, he faced him 4 times and couldn't connect to extend his hit streak to 30 games.
Came close, hit a couple of balls hard at Fenway Park, but they were hauled in on the warning track.
cued off the end of the bat. Porcello will boot it. Bautista will still be out as Porcello stayed with it. He had to extend. That ball had a lot of English on it, and it was cued right off the end of the bat. And John Farrell has made his way out of the Red Sox dugout now.
One more time, right off the end of the bat, and when that hits the glove, see Bautista stumbled just a little bit coming out of the batter's box, but when it hits the glove, it just shoots away from him, but he stays calm, records the out at first base, and that will be the last batter that he faces this afternoon.
So Rick Porcello goes 6 2/3. He leaves in line for the win and turns it over to the bullpen. Matt Barnes will be out first for Boston. Josh Donaldson will bat when we come back. Is Matt Barnes, who pitched an inning and a third in last night's game. He didn't give up a run, didn't give up a hit, had 2 strikeouts in the inning and a third.
Well, I think John Farrell wants a hard thrower in there to face the Blue Jays hitters. 2 hitters here, Donaldson and Encarnacion, with a runner at third base. Barnes has got a big fastball and a very good curveball. An inning and a third last night with a couple of strikeouts.
Josh Donaldson takes the first pitch strike. JD is 1 for 2 with a walk. He singled to left his last time up. .97. Donaldson's had success against Barnes. He's 3 for 6 against the righty.
Yeah, they just wanted to bring in some power here, maybe just to finish off the 7th inning. You got Donaldson, you got Encarnacion. Any one of them can go yard and then get you back right back into the ball game.
Tommy Lane, left-hander, one of 2 left-handers the Red Sox have in their bullpen, is standing by. It appears as though he's ready. Encarnacion will follow Donaldson if he can keep the inning going. Then Saunders in the cleanup spot. Way inside.
Well, that's not what they had in mind when they brought him in here. I don't want to be walking him, putting another run on board for another home run hitter.
Rick Porcello, another solid outing against the Blue Jays, in line for his 3rd win against Toronto this season, looking for his 8th win overall. Ball 4. Donaldson will go to first.
Save during Canada's Color Expert Sale, only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Beautiful Saturday afternoon along the shores of Lake Ontario. Open air baseball, second straight game. The roof has been open at Rogers Center. Edwin Encarnacion has a double today. 98th.
Pretty big arm for the former first-round draft pick. Thought he was going to be a starter, Barnes, but he has transitioned into the bullpen. Very effortless delivery.
'99, but upstairs. Barnes got a couple of seasons under his belt. In 2014, he came up and made 5 appearances, just 9 innings in total. Last year, a little more experience, 32 games, 43 innings. Ball and strike to Encarnacion. Checked his swing. 2-1. Barnes, we mentioned he threw an inning in a third last night.
He's got 2 batters, Donaldson and Encarnacion, and then his day will be done. He leads the Red Sox relievers in innings pitched this year. In fact, he's tied for 9th in the American League. So they have used him a lot.
Encarnacion rolls it foul.
With a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. He's getting more swings and misses this year with his curveball. So you talk about experience, as they have given him, they have spoon-fed him and taken baby steps early in his career. So that curveball, he's throwing it over for strikes now.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Blue Jays trying to get back in it, and their crowd's trying to help. Full count. Michael Saunders is on deck. He will not face Barnes if Encarnacion reaches base. Tommy Lane, the lefty, is ready. Donaldson will be off on the pitch from first. Pillar's at third. Foul tip.
Little advantage right there for the Blue Jays with Donaldson taking off. Extra base hit. He can score. Outfielders are going to play deep. A lot of room in the outfield. Find a gap.
Out in front of that pitch, and he pulls it foul. The Red Sox scored a run in the top of the 7th. Blue Jays trail by 4. Hard hit right to Shaw. Across the diamond in time, and the Blue Jays will strand a pair. So we'll go to the 8th. Boston with an 8-4 lead. Here's Storen coming in.
everything Blue Jays. The Sportsnet app lets you stay up to date with the latest scores, breaking news, game highlights, and analysis of Canada's team. You can even stream the Blue Jays live on the go. Download the free Sportsnet app today.
Drew Storen comes in to start the top of the 8th. He has not pitched since last Friday in Minnesota against the Twins.
So he needs some work, and the Blue Jays have to get Drew Storen online right now. 18 games in ERA, 7.80, 0-2. Righties and lefties have been hitting, but he's been striking guys out, not walking anybody. Just hasn't been able to find that release point and make good pitches.
First pitch breaking ball to Chris Young in there for a strike. Young reached on an error in the 6th and picked up a stolen base. He stole second. Breaking ball hit hard to left field. That ball is hooking. Fair ball into the corner. Saunders throw to second as Young gets there standing up. Chris Young hits that breaking ball down the left field line into the corner. That's his 9th double of the season.
You know, Drew's always had a very good breaking ball. He's making too many mistakes with it. This one right in the wheelhouse of Young. It's slicing, hooking, and it just stays fair. And he legs it out for extra bases. There are some encouraging signs for Drew Storen. Over his last 8 appearances, 6 of them have been scoreless. So it's just fastball command and breaking ball command. That time, good breaking ball missed his spot.
Marcus Stroman started. He went 5 2/3, and Jesse Chavez pitched an inning. Luke struck out the only 2 batters he faced to end the 7th. Now Drew Storen. Vasquez trying to bunt. That ball was up and in. He had to bail out in a hurry.
Looked like a breaking ball. Backed up on him just a little bit. Vasquez trying to get an add-on run with a sacrifice.
Storen didn't even look back at Young, and he walks over to third, his 2nd stolen base of the afternoon. He picked up on the fact that Storen wasn't giving him a look and just takes off. Watch the start at second.
One look, and then he goes. That's a scouting report right there. They picked that up on their advanced scouting. Now the infield has to come in.
Vasquez fouls it out of play. Red Sox just haven't let up. Blue Jays had a 3-0 lead after 3. The Sox got a run in the 4th, 4 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th. They just keep coming at you.
Yeah, it's a tough lineup. Try and get yourself through, and they've got power. They've got excellent average, team average, one of the the best in the American League, and they can run.
Extra base hits today. Dustin Pedroia has a pair of doubles. Bogart's a home run. Shaw a home run. Young a double this inning. Vasquez had a double in the 5th. He strikes out. Breaking ball down and away. Does the trick. 1 down.
He's got a good breaking ball when he throws it where he needs to. Picks up a big strikeout there. 2nd time that Vasquez has struck out this afternoon. He's got some bite on that breaking ball.
So Mookie Betts has had a 1-for-4 day. Had an infield hit in the 5th. Storen gets that ball inside.
35 RBIs right there by Mookie Betts. You see that? That's the most for a leadoff hitter in baseball. So their RBI guys aren't just the guys in the middle of their lineup. They're up and down.
Plenty of opportunities when you have all these 300 hitters in your lineup. It's a good young lineup. Of course, it's anchored by the veteran David Ortiz. That stays on that breaking ball, but fouls it down the right side. 1-2. The Blue Jays could really use Drew Storen at pitch for the Nationals. He got up to a rough start. Now he's just been trying to improve his location. His velocity's picked up a bit, and as you mentioned, the bite on his slider is getting better.
Yeah, it's still good, and he's scoreless outings, 6 into the last 8. This guy was a big closer for the Washington Nationals. Some big seasons with them, so it's in there. We just have to, Blue Jays have to find it, bring it out. He had 43 saves in 2011, 29 last year.
Elevates that fastball, but Betts wouldn't bite on it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Blue Jays trying to save this run just 90 feet away. Chris Young doubled into the left field corner and stole third. And Vasquez struck out. There's that high fastball. Storen with a big strikeout. Back-to-back strikeouts with a man at third.
Had a couple of ticks up in that fastball. That one was 93, well placed, just above Mookie Betts' hands. And Mookie comes up empty on this swing. He's got a wide assortment of space that he can get strikeouts with. Elevated fastball or that sharp breaking ball.
Dustin Pedroia, another good day at the plate, pair of doubles. He drove in 2 runs in the 5th. The second and third Red Sox runs as part of a 4-run inning. Pedroia 2 for 4, 2 doubles and 2 groundouts to short. One and 2.
This guy's the heart and soul of this Boston Red Sox team. You were talking about veterans like David Ortiz and all the others. How about this veteran? He has seen it all and he has done it all in baseball.
Rookie of the Year, MVP, Gold Glover, All-Star. He's done everything.
Silver Slugger.
1-2. Fly ball playable. Smoke, the first baseman, calls for it into foul territory. Nice job by Drew Storen. He gets out of a third base, nobody out situation. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Red Sox lead at 8-4. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio. pitcher for the Red Sox, the left-hander Tommy Lane. He's got Michael Saunders, Justin Smoak, and Russell Martin, the scheduled batters here in the 8th. He's pitching with a 4-run lead.
17 games, 13 2/3 innings. That's lefty specialist. If you ask me, his best pitch is a two-seam sinker. He gets lots of ground ball outs when he is on, and he will probably face the left-hander Saunders and then Smoak. And then depending on what they do, we might see Shinichi Tozawa finish off the 8th inning.
Tozawa's already up throwing. Saunders is 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts and grounded into a double play. Another pitch gets away from Lane and that hit him.
Sounded like it hit him.
Yep. So leadoff man's aboard. Tommy Lane's not going to have much rope here.
No, he gets two batters. Here's that two-seam sinker, and it just flips the uniform of Michael Saunders. Michael was on 3 times yesterday with 3 walks. And now he is on again. There is Tozawa warming up.
Tozawa had a good inning in last night's game. 3 up, 3 down, bottom of 3rd in the Blue Jays order. Inside to Smoak. And Blue Jays need base runners. They're down by 4. Ground ball. Gloved by Bogaerts. He goes to second. Pedroia was pulled off the bag as that ball was in the dirt. He tried to stretch, and John Farrell's going to come out and probably appeal this to the home plate umpire, Brian Gorman. The umpire at second made the call, Carlos Torres, and watch Pedroia stretch.
Did he stay on the bag? Did Saunders with that straight leg go right in? It looked like he kept his cleat, the ball of his foot, on the base. But they're going to take a look at this one. Is there enough evidence to overturn this one? Pedroia was making like a first baseman. I didn't think Bogaerts had any chance, number one, to get to the ball and then make the play at second base. Initially, when he threw it, I didn't think he had enough on it to get Saunders, who was busting it down to second base.
The problem for the umpire was that Pedroia's heel moved an awful lot, and it looked like he may have come off the bag. But when you look at that replay, and Pedroia checking with Shaw, the third baseman, but his heel moved so much it looked like he came off the base. But when you look at the replay, it looked like his toe might have maintained contact.
And if that's the case, you can see he's got the ball. Michael Saunders' foot is not on the bag yet. It's just, was that spike on the bag?
Bogaerts made a terrific play. He committed an error earlier, and they rule safe. Not enough evidence to overturn the call on the field. So the first 2 reach. John Farrell out of the dugout quickly. He's already made the call out of the bullpen. So Tommy Lane hits Saunders, allows Smoak to reach, and he's out of the ball game. So the Blue Jays got something cooking here in the bottom of the 8th. Shinichi Tozawa will come in to face Russell Martin. Nobody out, 2 on. Interesting, in the bottom of the eighth, Junichi Tozawa pitched the 7th inning in last night's game. He retired to side in order, and Russell Martin was the first batter he faced last night. He'll be the first batter he faces this afternoon.
That ran his scoreless streak to 9 straight appearances, 13 strikeouts over those 9 appearances. Tozawa's got the good fastball and a great splitter, and he's got outstanding command and control. 25 strikeouts, just 5 base on balls all season long in his 19 2/3 innings. This is the situation that he is in now, the 8th inning. Pitching in front of Kimbrel for the 9th inning. The Blue Jays got their work cut out for him. Tozawa can be tough.
Russell Martin hit an opposite field a home run on an 0-2 pitch off Rick Porcello in the 6th. His 3rd homer of the season. Still trying to get the tying run to the plate. Saunders at second, Smoke at first. First pitch swinging, Martin falls behind Tozawa.
He has done a good job of retiring first batters faced. 21 times he's come in. He has retired the first batter 17 times.
Big curveball. Quickly 0-2 to Russell Martin. Well, 0-2 last time, he had a home run.
Do it again. That time it was a fastball up and away. Tozawa has only given up 1 inherited runner scoring this year.
Oh, 2 pitch. Made a mistake there. They were trying to come inside, and he missed that over the plate. But more baseball right after this ball game. Make sure you stay tuned. The New York Yankees are in St. Pete to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. Michael Pineda at 2-5 will go up against the left-hander Matt Moore, 1-3. More baseball right here on Sportsnet. Interesting, Vasquez held that glove up like he wanted a high fastball, and they threw a splitter. They are so paranoid about the Blue Jays relaying pitches and location, and you can see Vasquez nodding in satisfaction. That's exactly what he wanted him to throw.
Absolutely. He did it a couple of times in last night's ball game, and that's because there's a runner out at second base. If he starts flashing location, Vasquez, way beyond his years, smart behind the plate.
Base hit to right field. Saunders is going to be waved home. Here comes the throw from Mookie Betts. Safe. Russell Martin with another RBI. Base hit to right.
There is a lot of success for a right-handed batter to go the other way. And Russell Martin is starting to heat up because he's going the other way. His home run was to right field. This time he just dumps it down the right field line. One more time off the end of that with 2 strikes. That plate coverage. And when Mookie Betts comes up firing, Michael Saunders knows there's going to be a play at the plate, and he backdoors and touches that plate with his hand. Reads it initially off the bat that it's going to fall in for a base hit. Betts comes up firing. And the throw is a little bit up the first base side. That allows Saunders to score.
So the Blue Jays do get the tying run to the plate. Devin Travis representing the tying run. Devin is grounded out 3 times to the shortstop. Smokes in to score. Martin is headed for third, and Travis will get to second. The tying run's in scoring position.
That ball is hit hard by Devin Travis, who picked up his first double of the season. The ball looked like it went under the glove of the third baseman, Travis Shaw. He hits it hard, just out of his reach underneath his glove. Smoke trots home. Martin goes to third, and the Blue Jays, what a comeback.
Good job by Martin. Travis follows him into second. Still nobody out. Carl Willis, the pitching coach, has come out to the mound because Jimmy Paredes has been announced as a pinch hitter. Paredes batting for Darwin Barney. So Carl Willis wants to go out and refresh the memory of the catcher and the pitcher. So his message has been delivered. Hit batter, fielder's choice, and an error, then a single and a double. The score ruled the smoke play, a fielder's choice, charged an error to Bogaerts. I gotta believe that's an infield hit, but it's a moot point right now.
I don't know how it's an error. He dove for the ball, made a good throw, but that's not the big play of this inning.
Jimmy Paredes pinch hitting for Darwin Barney. Paredes 0 for 2 against Tazawa. Tazawa has always had a tough time pitching against the Blue Jays.
Yes, he has, as Craig Kimbrell gets up and starts to get loose.
No outs. Two and 0. Paredes, since he's joined the Blue Jays, is 4 for 13. He has a double, a home run, and 2 RBIs.
His home run went to left field right here. Now he could pick out a pitch, 2-0. See if you can hit a double. Get yourself into scoring position and score those 2 runners.
Paredes is 2 for 2 as a pinch hitter. Blue Jays have clawed their way back into this ball game. John Farrell looking for answers. That gets away. Here comes Martin. He's going to score. It's a 1-run game.
Christian Vasquez, the catcher, had slid over to the outside part of the plate for that pitch, anticipating it being away. And when Tazawa yanked that pitch on the inside part of the plate, he can't get over there to cut it off. You can see him way out on the corner. That one hits the umpire, goes back to the backstop. You can see at his weight on his left foot where the pitch was to his right. Can't slide over there to block it. The Blue Jays have the tying run 90 feet away.
And nobody out. Foul chip. We had shown you Vasquez moving around trying to disguise location and pitch selection. And that time his movement cost him. The ball got away from it. It's a wild pitch.
Watch his left leg where all the weight goes on his left leg. And now he can't go back to the right.
Full count. Blue Jays have scored 3 here in the 8th. Paredes stays alive. Now the Red Sox are doing a shift. They're keeping Bogaerts, the shortstop, over on the third base side. They move Travis Shaw to the first base side of second. It's Shaw, Pedroia, and Ramirez.
That's interesting because Bogaerts was over on the second base side until that last pitch. Now they want to put him on the left side of the infield.
Paredes strikes out. That's the first out of the inning. So that'll bring Kevin Pillar to the plate. Pillar faced Tazawa last night and flied out to right. A lot of discussions going on between the Red Sox infielders now.
Especially the right side of the infield. That's going to bring John Farrell out. He might bring in Kimbrel here to try and save it.
He's already made the call. So Craig Kimbrel will be called upon coming into this game. It's a one-run game. Tazawa records just one out in the eighth. Kimbrel will come in for the 5-out save. Closer, Craig Kimbrel, with 12 saves, will be asked to get 5 outs.
Here it is right here on his 28th birthday. Kimbrel, they're pushing all the chips to the middle of the table. They're saying, okay, I'm going to play my cards right here. 20 games. He's one of the best closers in all of baseball. He's 12 for 13 in saves. The Blue Jays are going to try and figure out a way to get Devin Travis in from third base.
Kimbrel has not worked more than an inning this season, and they're trying to get 5 outs from him.
Hanley Ramirez keeps looking into the dugout to get some direction in case they try that squeeze play.
Kevin Pillar, way outside. 8-7 ball game. The Blue Jays have scored 3 runs here in the 8th. Kimbrel is making his 5th appearance against the Blue Jays. He is 3 for 3 in save opportunities against them this season.
And there are the great numbers. Told you he's one of the best in all of baseball. He's got a deadly combination, upper 90s fastball and a very good sharp breaking ball.
'97, 1-2.
Sure, Devin Travis is going to play this ball through on the infield. You've got Jose Bautista up on deck. If this ball doesn't go through, if there's a ground ball to the infield, you got to let Bautista hit with a runner at third.
Pillar strikes out on the 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
Right fielder number 19, Jose Bautista.
Bautista singled and scored in the third. He's 0 for 4 for his career against Kimbrel. Well, the Blue Jays got a taste of this in New York against Dylan Betances and Aroldis Chapman.
They had some great at-bats against those two flamethrowers, didn't they? Some big base hits. They scored a run off of Chapman. Huge insurance run the other day.
Not close. First two missing badly. Roberto Osuna has pitched 3 days in a row. So Gavin Floyd is standing by ready. Whatever the situation. Two and one.
Don't you just love these power pitcher, power hitter?
Tying run just 90 feet away. Bautista against Kimbrel.
It's you versus me.
Base hit to right field. It's a tie game.
You know, you mentioned the at-bats against Betances and Chapman. We said they had some good at-bats. You know what they did? They went the other way. They didn't try and overswing. They made sure that they got the fastball down in the strike zone, and that's exactly what Jose Bautista does. Kimbrel's got the great fastball, but make it a strike and make it down. He does. Shoots that ball the other way for the tying base hit.
A 4-run inning. Bautista had a great jump at first. He had the right idea. He got out there too far. Kimbrel never looked at him.
He bluffed and then stopped. If he went, he had that base stolen easily.
8-8. Josh Donaldson. Breaking ball right on the corner. Kimbrel charged with his second blown save of the season. Way outside. Kimbrel was 12 for 13 in save opportunities. His previous blown save came at the hands of the Houston Astros on the 24th of April. Chopper toward third. That's a foul ball.
Well, that's what I mean about pushing your chips into the middle of the table. Say, okay, hey, I'm going to play my hand right here. You bring in your closer to try and finish off the 8th and then the 9th inning. But if he gives up the tying run, do you send him back out there in the 9th inning?
They're pretty thin in the bullpen, as you pointed out earlier. If he throws a bunch of pitches this inning, it'd be kind of tough to bring him back. It's 8-8.
He hasn't worked since last Sunday, so he's well rested. Still.
Everything down and away to Donaldson. Josh has hit 400 against Boston this season. He's 1 for 2 today with a pair of walks.
And 4 home runs against the Red Sox.
He had a 4-hit game yesterday with 2 homers and 5 ribbies. Can he do it again? Pop this one up. Bogaerts backing up into left field. The inning is over, but what an inning. 4 runs for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 8th. Jose Bautista ties it up against Craig Kimbrough. We'll go to the 9th.
Introducing an exciting new way to stream sports. Sportsnet now lets you live stream your favorite sports without cable TV. All you need is the internet. Start your free trial today. Visit sportsnet.ca/now. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And certainly you want to check out everything that's gone on in this ball game. And we've had a barn burner here today. 8-8. Boston has 14 hits. The Blue Jays have 10 hits. And the new pitcher for the Jays will be Gavin Floyd.
That's how it's been, hasn't it? When these two teams have hooked up over the last couple of years. Gavin Floyd, 18th time that we have seen him. His ERA is under 3. Lefties just 0.91 against Floyd.
Brian Goins takes over defensively at shortstop as Darwin Barney was lifted for the pinch hitter Jimmy Paredes. Gavin Floyd gets ahead of Xander Bogaerts, who breaks his bat. You got to try something with Bogaerts. Break his bat so he can get a different one. He's got 3 hits today.
Find the bat where there's no hits in it. Gavin Floyd has been great for the Blue Jays this year.
We got to mention Drew Storn. What an effort he gave the Blue Jays in the 8th inning. A leadoff double, a stolen base, third base, nobody out. And he strands Chris Young at third. Couple of strikeouts and a pop out. There's that wicked breaking ball. Well, yesterday Sanchez gave Bogaerts a pretty good diet of curveballs, and he didn't have a chance against those breaking balls.
He was in awe of some of the curveballs that Aaron threw to him. Floyd's got the same type of curveball, right over the top.
We know that Bogaerts can hit a fastball. Oh, he tried too much on that one and buried it well in the dirt in the other batter's box. 2-2.
Threw a bounce pass to Russell Martin. He picks it. Gavin has given up his share of big hits, but he has come up with some big innings also for the Blue Jays. He's going to pitch at the back end of the games now. Got to figure that Osuna is not available, working 3 days in a row.
Popped up over near the seats, and that'll reach the seats out of play. John Gibbons He wants to take care of his young closer, of course, 3 games in a row, and he picked up his 11th save yesterday. Full count. Got to get the leadoff man. 8-8 ball game. Big Papi David Ortiz is on deck. He went. Bogaerts tried to talk Corbin into ball 4, but he wouldn't go for it. Another breaking ball, and Bogaerts strikes out.
He wasn't expecting that breaking ball. American League's leading hitter. You got to throw him something other than a fastball, and tries to talk the home plate umpire into that, but to no avail.
1 down. David Ortiz. 1 for 4 with a double.
I mentioned Gavin Floyd's numbers against left-handers because I knew Ortiz was coming up this inning. He's only given up 3 hits all season long to left-handed batters.
Ortiz has hit him well in the past. He's 9 for 27 with 3 home runs. Robbie Ross, the left-hander, loosening up. What would you do with Ortiz in this situation if you were Floyd?
How would I get him out? I think I would try and throw a breaking ball under his bat. You know what he's trying to do, right? He's trying to go large right here, so his swing might get a little bit too long, so you throw him a breaking ball.
There's a breaking ball, and he hammers it high and deep to right, and he's just untied it. David Ortiz, his 4th career home run against Gavin Floyd. For Ortiz, that's his 40th career home run here at Rogers Center.
He has had some kind of career. I'd throw him a breaking ball, but I wouldn't hang it. I'd try and throw it underneath his bat, and it looked like Gavin missed it.
Gavin has pitched well overall, but has given up some big home runs. He gave up a walk-off home run to Drew Stubbs down in Arlington.
Well, he does go to the curveball, goes to the breaking ball. Instead of getting it underneath the bat, it just stayed up against Ortiz, and there's that familiar leg kick and finish. He has made a habit of this against the Blue Jays, especially in this ballpark.
That's his 60th career home run against the Blue Jays overall. It's a high pop-up. Goins backing up into the outfield. He is there and makes the catch. 2 down. Well, David Ortiz has put on quite a show early on this season. You can see where he ranks in the all-time Red Sox home run list.
Home runs for the Red Sox. Ted Williams leads with 521. Ortiz is a 500 home run hitter. But as a Red Sox, that was number 458 for Ortiz. He passed Carl Yastrzemski this year. They retired Wade Boggs' number at Fenway Park, the last homestand that the Red Sox had. I think they're going to have to find another spot for number 34.
Jackie Bradley Jr. hits it to Devin Travis. The inning is over, but David Ortiz, with his 60th career home run against the Blue Jays, has given the Red Sox a 1-run lead. Meat of the order coming up for the Blue Jays. Edwin Encarnacion, Michael Saunders, and Justin Smoak. The Jays are down by 1. Ross made the announcement this would be his final season, but if you look at his last 162 games, to me, there's no sign of any indication why he should retire.
He's not slowing down at all. 300 batting average, 296, 45 and 141 home runs, RBIs. Remember a few years ago when they said he's finished, he's washed up?
Kimbrel back out to pitch the ninth. I believe if it was 8-8, you might have seen Robbie Ross Jr. into the game, but not with the Red Sox leading. Oh, 0-2. Kimbrel gave up the RBI base hit to Jose Bautista that tied it up at 8. Kimbrel came into the ball game with 1 out in the 8th and struck out Kevin Pillar, and then Bautista drove home Devin Travis. Josh Donaldson popped out to end the inning. 0-2 pitch. Popped up. That'll reach the seats.
You know, and I'm with you. If Ortiz does not hit that home run, I think Robbie Ross is in this game right here, and they saved Kimbrel for another day. But because they took the lead with that home run, John Farrell's going to try and stretch his closer out for another inning.
The 4th home run Ortiz has hit against Gavin Floyd in his career. Way outside. Two and two.
Boy, they become very selective when you've got that home run hitter up there. They try to paint that outside corner, and the next thing you know, you've got long, extended at-bats. Bautista had a good at-bat against Kimbrel, a long one, and now Edwin. Pitch number 7 coming up.
He stays alive. Got a piece of that breaking ball. Edwin hasn't homered since May 19th. Kimbrel has allowed just 2 home runs this season. Another perfect matchup, power against power. The greatest one-on-one confrontation in sports.
Jose won his battle. Now let's see what Encarnacion can do.
Popped it up. Left field line. Bogarts calls for it. The shortstop is there and makes the catch.
The all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Michael Saunders steps to the plate with 1 out. Michael's 0 for 5 in the series, but he's been on base 4 times. He walked 3 times in last night's game and was hit by a pitch his last time up.
Yeah, he got it all started last inning by getting hit by that pitch from Tommy Lane. Good on base. Michael's hit some big home runs for the Blue Jays already this season.
Saunders has 9 home runs for the season. This is only the second time Saunders has faced Kimbrel. He's 0 for 1.
Michael with that big home run when the team was out in San Francisco off of Casilla, the closer for the Giants, that set that game into extra innings. Maybe he can do it again here.
Tough fastball on the outer edge. 2-2. Breaking ball. Saunders strikes out. 2 down.
Boy, that's what makes Kimbrel so tough. You got to respect the fastball because it's upper 90s. Then it can drop that breaking ball on you at any time. There's a good one that gets underneath the swing. 90% of the times he saves those games for his career.
Two outs. Justin Smoak. First pitch breaking ball for a strike. Smoak homered against Joe Kelly in last night's game. That was in the 5th. Oh, 0-2.
Guess some fastball right there, and he threw him another hard slider.
David Ortiz, the difference in this game. Solo home run. Base hit for Smoak. Keeps the hopes alive.
Boy, what an at-bat for Justin Smoak. He cut his swing down with 2 strikes and just shot that ball back through the middle. Now John Gibbons is going to go back to his bench one more time. Look at the smooth swing. Under control, catches another breaking ball. Head down, shoots it into center field for a hit.
Ezequiel Carrera will take over as a pinch runner for Smoak. He gets the 2-out base hit. Carrera with good speed. Russell Martin has homered and singled in his last 2 at-bats. Trying to ambush that fastball, got out in front. Kimbrel has thrown 31 pitches.
Sometimes you have to stretch out that closer if you want the win. He went to him early last inning after 1 was out. Yet he hasn't pitched since last Sunday, so he's well rested. Almost threw that one away.
Yeah, for no apparent reason.
He's not going anywhere.
Not with Vasquez behind the plate. Tough breaking ball. Late break, sharp break. Oh, 0-2. There goes Carrera. Pitches up. Ball goes into right field. Carrera's going to go to third. Vasquez throw tailed on him. Picks up his 2nd error of the season.
You know, the Blue Jays gamble there with 2 strikes that Kimbrel's going to throw a breaking ball, so you start the runner. Surprise the Red Sox. One more time, there goes Carrera, and the throw sails on him. Pedroia can't knock it down, and Carrera will move up.
3rd stolen base of the season. Pedroia can't get a glove on it. And now the tying run once again just 90 feet away.
They've already thrown a couple of wild pitches this afternoon.
He tried to there. Vasquez had one get away that Martin scored on in the 8th. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Foul tip. These 2 teams have split the first 8 games. They're 4-4.
And they're all nail biters, aren't they? All good games. I mean, 2 teams with a lot of pride. Both teams want to win. And you got to battle all the way down to the last out.
The Jays have won 3 in a row. Line drive to left field. That's down for a base hit. Martin is headed for second. And he'll get there standing up. What a big hit for Russell Martin.
There were signs being shown by Martin that things were starting to come around. He got a great bat order, a little bit shorter bat, a little bit lighter bat. He moved his hands back in his stance, and he's starting to hit the ball. Homer, single, and now a clutch double with 2 outs against one of the best closers in all of baseball. This ball is drilled to the gap in left center field.
How about the stolen base by Carrera? Picks up his 3rd stolen base, moves to 3rd on the air, and look at the bench. Nine to 9. What a big hit for Russell Martin. 3 hits in his last 3 plate appearances today. Home run, single, double. He's driven home 3. None bigger than Carrera.
Boy, that was a huge hit. Now can they finish it off?
36 pitches. Blue Jays can win it right here. Devin Travis got the big hit off Aroldis Chapman on Thursday afternoon. A fastball that he ripped into right.
He got a big hit his last time up, didn't he? Last inning against Tazawa.
Hit a double down the left field line. Martin's going to go to 3rd. Vasquez couldn't find the baseball. It was right under his feet, and he never saw it. Heads up play by Russell Martin.
They've had some problems with that today. So anytime you can move up Martin in the ball game, one more time, it's a slider in the dirt. He blocks it and then can't find it. And Russell knows as a catcher, when you can't find it, it's tough to come up with it and make the play, so he moves up.
Ground ball. Travis Shaw at 3rd. Throw is get away. The Blue Jays win it. first win of the season. Russell Martin, a terrific game. He tied it up with a double. And then Devin Travis